Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 78. Today is Wednesday. How we doing today, Easton?
Good. Back for a normal episode of the podcast after Jeopardy episode.
Last episode, we had our second Jeopardy. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
It was a lot of fun.
Spoiler alert, Tebow absolutely destroyed me and Scuba. So, I don't know who we're going to have on next to go up against him, but, I feel like you could make your second appearance back. Yeah. Just switch up the host again. Yeah, who's the third person?
Because he was a whiz. Yeah. Like, he was almost unbeatable. He was nuts.
But we'll see. We probably won't do that for a couple weeks, maybe a month, but this upcoming Saturday, we are going to be doing our first NFL mock draft. By our first, I would like to do a second one maybe right before the draft. But if we don't, it's cool. But Nate, we're going to have Willie on for that. Like, always call him our high-tempo NFL analyst.
And college football analyst.
Just football in general. So we'll be having him on to do that. But let's hop right into the news today as we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're also going to be doing another power rankings, our second one, our updated NBA power rankings. So let's start off with a couple injuries that we have in the NBA. First off, a big one, Anthony Davis is going to be out, or he's going to be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. So I would assume he's going to be out at least 3 weeks, but I would not be shocked if this timeout extends for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I could see this being a very long injury. We're still talking about a guy who's under 30, and he's still in his prime. You don't want to waste it on an injury. And especially when you're the number 2 seed in the West.
A team that definitely is going to need AD for the playoffs. Yeah. And you can do your. I'm not saying that you can do without AD for the regular season, but you can coast and stay good without Anthony Davis for maybe a month or two.
Oh, and I think it gives a huge opportunity for a guy like Montrezl Harrell to really, really step up and really get a lot more shots and get fluid. And if they have to go to Montrezl in the playoffs, he'll have experience now.
That's why I was listening to Through the Wire, and Mike on there, he's like a big Lakers fan. He was saying he didn't say he was excited, but like it's a good and bad thing because like Kyle Kuzma is really going to have an extended role with Anthony Davis being out, and he's probably going to be the number 2 scorer, him or Dennis Schroeder. So
yeah, absolutely.
And so it's definitely going to give other guys more time to shine, and like you said, make them be ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, and when AD comes back in the playoffs, and if you're a 5 or 4 seed, that's okay because as long as you're in the playoffs, you have a shot at winning it.
Yeah.
So
and it does. This Anthony Davis injury, like I'm pretty sure it's a lower leg injury, right? It's a calf or Achilles.
I thought it was a knee.
Is it a knee? It might be a knee, yeah. But he's been having issues with the calf area for a while. So it's and Anthony Davis has been off this year. So maybe him taking some not off, but he just hasn't been the Anthony Davis we expected him to be this year. He's only averaging like 21, 22 points a game, like 8 rebounds. This is a guy who I picked to be Defensive Player of the Year this year, and he just really hasn't lived up to that yet this year. But hopefully this time off can get him 100% and he comes back better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, we had him in our MVP conversation at the start of the year. He was a debatable, he might win MVP.
Exactly.
And he has been struggling this year, and it's been out there. It's been talked about how he's been struggling. It's not going under the radar.
But I don't think it's hurting the Lakers at all. They're still top of the Western Conference and one of the best teams in the NBA, if not the best. So
and they added more scorers this offseason.
Next injury is D'Angelo Russell. I just want to say, or I'll explain the injury first, but he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks at least. I don't know what the injury was. I didn't get a chance to write that down, but man, being a T-Wolves fan right now has got to just be tough. Like I saw a TikTok yesterday about just the Timberwolves, and I was just thinking about it like, wow, I thought being a Pistons fan, even being a Pistons fan right now isn't as bad as being a Timberwolves fan, I don't think, because you have Karl-Anthony Towns, a generational talent, if the best, I'm going to just say the best shooting big man in NBA history, technically.
Yeah, no, he is. I agree with you.
Like,
I'm not
just kind of getting wasted, I guess. Like, I don't really want to say he's...
No, he is. This team is no way making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're not going to make the playoffs anytime soon with their roster.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough.
The only bright spots of this is it gives a chance for Anthony Edwards to really get more of a role because he was coming off the bench. Malik Beasley has been really good this year, and he's kind of, they have to start Malik Beasley because he's been their best scorer other than Cat, really. But Anthony Edwards last night in the first game without D'Lo had like 28 and like 7, had a good game against the Lakers, but they lost, but still, but D'Angelo being out, I mean, him and Karl-Anthony Towns have played 5 games together since the trade last year. 5 games. Wiggins has probably played Wiggins has played most every game this year.
Every game.
And last year he played a lot too when he got traded. They have played 5 games together, whether it's, Cat being injured, D'Lo being injured, the COVID, it's just, and they don't have their pick. They don't have their pick. That's the worst part.
The Warriors have their pick.
Yes.
And are gonna get another top draft pick.
Like we were saying,
the most loaded, one of the most loaded draft classes going into it. It could change.
Hyped up class,
Hyped up. Ever. This class is so deep. The first 8 guys could all be all-stars. I mean, it's just the way it's going to work.
Yeah. And it's just we were saying the same thing last year, and I know this is kind of switching to a Warriors thing, but we were saying, when Clay and Steph comes back and they got that pick, or they're going to have a Warriors pick, and then we're saying the same thing this year where next year, the Warriors are doing pretty good this year, but next year, they're going to have Clay coming back, Wiseman as a second-year player where great players tend to make their jump from their freshman to sophomore year. And then they're going to have their own pick, which if they don't make the playoffs, they could have 2 really high picks. And they're going to have that Minnesota pick. The Minnesota pick is top 3 protected, which, I mean, right now the Timberwolves are the worst team in the NBA.
Looks like it might be.
The Timberwolves could get their own pick back, but with the lottery odds, how they work nowadays, they have a small chance of keeping their pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Cat back now, looking to get more wins. I mean, they're not in losing mode. They can't be in lose now mode. They're in win now.
They have to, but it's just without D'Lo.
How do you do it?
Yeah,
especially in the West.
Hopefully Ricky Rubio can just try and get everyone else involved.
So does this team? I know the comparison was made last season because the Tim Duncan to James Wiseman comparison with the Warriors having that top pick when they started tanking to get that top pick. They compared them instantly to the Spurs with David Robinson. When he got hurt, they tanked for Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Everybody agreed James Wiseman was no Tim Duncan.
Exactly, but it's just a similar scenario.
I mean, is this team now built for the next 10 years if they keep both those lottery picks?
I don't know if I wouldn't say they're built for the next 10 years because, I mean, just having 2 guys, and is still maybe, but they just have options because they don't have to draft somebody.
No.
If let's say that Timberwolves pick ends up being the 5th pick in the draft and that goes to the Warriors. They have so many options where they can, attach that to Wiggins and try and get somebody, which that was always been the talk. You really want to go get somebody. Attach that to Wiggins and Wiseman. I don't think they want to give up Wiseman. I think he has been hurt, but he's been one of the more promising rookies this year.
But then again, if you're giving up both of them, you're getting
you have
super
Kelly Oubre who you can attach in a trade because he's making a large amount of money too.
Mil?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, Wiggins you can match max deals with Wiggins. So
yeah, absolutely.
You could attach that pick, Wiggins, and just 3 future first round picks. You might as well.
I mean, it's unreal.
They have options for sure.
Because this Warriors team is going to be the favorite again. I think in the next couple of years, a heavy favorite once again.
Maybe, yeah.
They are just so built.
I think it depends on how Wiseman develops, too.
Yeah. Or they just trade him for a superstar. I mean,
you never know. But, I mean, back to Minnesota, it just sucks because they're the worst team in the NBA right now, don't own their pick. They're trying to make Cat happy, bringing his best friend, D'Angelo Russell, there. And things just haven't worked out for it so far. It just has not worked out at all. And they don't really have that bright of they do have a nice young core, but their future just really doesn't look good because how much longer is Cat going to want to play on these teams, on this horrible team every year?
You know what you might see? You might see a Warriors Timberwolves trade again for Cat this time.
That would be funny. That would be ideal.
No, but this Timberwolves team, I feel so bad for them because it feels like everything that can go wrong is going wrong with this team. You look at Malik Beasley, who's having a breakout best year of his career.
Yeah, averaging 20 points a game.
Gets arrested. And I think he's under house arrest right now.
Not right now. Once the season's over, he's got a service term. Yeah, which is weird.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's just everything that's going wrong is going wrong for this roster.
And like I said, the only really thing that could turn things around is if Anthony Edwards really just starts to ball out over these next 4 to 6 weeks with D'Angelo Russell being out. He starts, and I don't say it's going to translate to wins. That's not really what I mean. Just as far as Anthony Edwards' development, he's becoming a great scorer and playmaker. That would be huge for them.
Yeah, definitely. Any sort of growth for this Minnesota team,
yeah,
should be looked at as good because since getting Cat, it feels like they've only regressed.
Yeah,
it feels like they haven't gotten better at all.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about Minnesota a little bit later when we do our power rankings, but let's move on to the next topic in the news. On to a more controversial one. Top draft prospect projected to be the 6th pick in this year's draft, Jalen Johnson from Duke, opts out of the rest of the remainder of the season as he wants to prepare for the NBA draft. Duke is having one of their worst years in history. They're below 500, and Jalen Johnson over the past couple of games was really getting diminishing minutes. He only played 8 minutes in his final game with Duke in a win over NC State. In the game before that, he only played 15 minutes. So
I didn't see those two stats.
Yeah, so he really just was. He had a really good start to the year at Duke, and really just started to not play very well. And Coach K is still going to play the guys who are doing better, which makes a lot of sense, especially with Duke not playing well.
Bad. Yeah.
So there's a lot of mixed reactions to this, where people think it's stupid, people think he's quitting, where other people are thinking he's got to do what he's got to do to get his money. I want to hear what you got to think.
So I was just talking about this with my dad, and this is wrong to me from my standpoint, not in the standpoint of a future millionaire. Mm-hmm. It feels wrong because there's nothing saying that Duke is out of the tournament right now. I mean, yes, they are really bad. Like, the chances of them winning the SEC tournament are not high. ACC. Remember, I told you, not good with them. ACC tournament. They're not over. Like, they could still make the tournament if he plays. But it feels like he's quitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I started thinking, what do his teammates think about this? Are his teammates happy or mad at him? Because if you go to Duke, your goal is to get to the league.
I think that's everyone's goal nowadays, honestly. Especially to go to Duke.
So
yes.
You have the guy who's already getting drafted saying, I'm not going to play anymore. That opens up a new spot for somebody else to say, oh, I can get mine now. I might be able to make a leaguer case. Then I thought, is anybody going to draft a lot of guys from Duke this year? They're really bad.
Yeah, but they'll still get drafted. I mean, just because your team's bad doesn't mean...
But I'm saying, like, a sixth man couldn't step up and make himself a draft pick with the absence of Jalen Johnson. So I don't know. I've got the same mixed reactions as everybody else. I see where he's coming from. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to ruin your future, especially when you're going to be... he's going to be a millionaire next year. I see that and I get that, but it's hard, and I can only imagine being a Duke fan, what that does to you.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what they think of it.
I mean, I would assume Duke fans are pretty upset.
Me too.
My reaction, I can see both sides, kind of like you, because, I've seen people say this isn't opting out, this is quitting. 2 weeks left in the year, your team is not doing very well, this is quitting. And then I've seen, well, if he's not getting paid, then how can you quit something you're not getting paid to do? But then I think he chose to go to Duke. Yeah. He could have went to the G League. He chose to go to Duke. To your point where you say, going to Duke, he wants to go to the league. Obviously, when they're at college, they probably want to win a national championship, but that's not the goal of a top 10, a top 25-star recruit.
No.
The end goal is not to win March Madness. It's to make it to the NBA and maybe just make a living off of the NBA, I guess. And it's hard to, with the current rules of college basketball and everything, and obviously things are going to change in the next couple of years, but right now, it's hard to tell a kid that you say, all right, in 2 years, you're going to be a millionaire in the NBA, but next year, you're going to make no money, and you're just going to play basketball, and that's it.
You're just going to play basketball, and you have to do schoolwork.
Yeah.
And you've got homework.
And obviously, I assume it's very, that's not as difficult as a regular student going to Duke, but that's just kind of how I see it. Like, they know that they're going to be making millions. He knows he's going to be the sixth, whether he's the 6th pick or the 60th pick, he's going to be in the NBA just because was a top-rated prospect in high school, went to Duke, played with one of the better coaches in college basketball. So how I see it is he knows that he is going to be an NBA player, and that is his goal. So either way, at this point, if he wants to do what he's got to do, then it's whatever.
So I've got another question for you. What do you think this does to his draft stock? Does it, from what it sounds like, it probably had a downward trajectory, honestly, with his minutes diminishing. Do you think this now kind of plants him right where he is, or do you think he might drop or rise?
Well, and that's the thing too, because he said that, he didn't say anything, but I would assume him losing minutes was a key factor in him deciding to just be done for the year. But with if I feel like if he would have stayed at Duke and his minutes continue to suck and he's playing 8 minutes,
he loses.
That looks way worse.
Yeah.
And whether it's him, okay, let me get out now and just train the entire time.
That's what I was just thinking.
And no, that's what I think.
That.
Like you might as well just stop where you're at, I guess, so your stock doesn't fall. But
I mean, literally 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not enough to get drafted.
And for a team that is like, and this wasn't a win. This wasn't a North Carolina State win, or they beat North Carolina State.
And Duke is bad.
Yeah. Like you're trying to get back into things. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I don't think his stock will, because you look at a guy like James Wiseman. You know, Wiseman, who started off the year really well at Memphis, didn't play college, still was the second pick in the draft, and has done well in his time in the NBA so far.
I don't think this hurts Jalen Johnson's draft
but
stock.
it is a red flag that Coach K was taking away his minutes. I mean, that's that shows that something's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, when they're losing a lot of games, you have to change up rotations, and kind of like how Tom Izzo's been doing it with the Spartans. So this Jalen Johnson situation is, I don't know. I feel like people who are getting upset, it's hard to talk on someone else's future and wealth and everything. Like, it's easy for you and me to sit here and be like, oh, that's quitting. He needs to play college. If I was me, I would play for Duke. You're so lucky. Like, we can't say that. Yeah,
we're not top 20. We're not top 5.
Exactly. It's a lot different when you're in their shoes. And that's why I say I don't like when we'll kind of get into it in a few, but yeah, with the state recruit Enoch Bayuchi, I don't know if I think I'm saying that right. I've heard it be pronounced like that, but with him decommitting, I'm not too upset about it, because I'm not the type of person to hate on someone for choosing where they want to go to college. I don't know. I just think that's kind of messed up. And
I agree.
But the thing is, if I was a State fan and let's say I was a huge Duke fan, like how I am a State fan, Jalen Johnson opts out, of course I would be upset.
Yeah, I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be one of my favorite Duke players.
Oh, I would. Yeah, I would be upset. I would so be upset. But it's whatever. I mean, I'm fine with Jalen Johnson doing it, but I do understand why people think it's quitting. But yeah, he chose to go to Duke. That's the part. Yeah. That's the part where I still can see the side of people getting mad, because he chose to go to Duke and not to go take $500K to play in the G League. So,
and the thing is, if he was playing for a good team, would he still be opting out?
Yeah,
probably not.
Probably not. And that's what makes it look
like he's quitting.
That's what makes that's what makes it look worse. Like if Duke was top of the ACC like usual, he would probably be playing the rest of the year.
Yep, absolutely.
So it does look bad. It is a bad look for sure. It's just whether scouts will take it seriously or not.
Yep.
But yeah, let's just hop into the next topic. Yeah, Enoch Bayuchi decommits from Michigan State, 5-star center in the class of 2022, and is very likely to reclassify to the 2021 class. He gave his reasons for decommitting was that it was nothing against the Michigan State program, but he realizes that next year State is going to have all 4 of their big men that they currently have this year, with Thomas Kithier, Marcus Bingham, Julius Marble, and Matty Sissoko. And Sissoko is probably going to have an extended role next year, so it's going to be tough for him to get minutes, but at the same time, he would be the best prospect out of all 4 of those guys. But Izzo does like to play the upperclassmen, so I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, when he committed, it was the same way. It was no different when he committed. So, like, how did this just randomly appear in his head?
And he came in, or he came out and said that he wants to go somewhere where he comes in right away and is the guy. And it's like, so what you're telling me is you don't want to have to compete for your job.
Yeah,
which is a weird look.
But like I said though, in today's college basketball, it's not really about where you go to college. It's just about where you can play the most. That's why you see
where you can look the best.
Yeah, exactly. Like Isaiah Stewart going to Washington last year. Like he had State, Duke, and another team in his top 5. I think Kentucky. Yeah, I think it was Kentucky. And he chose Washington, where he was easily going to get the most touches there. Whether his team probably isn't going to be that good, and he's not going to get the recognition he's going to get at Duke or Kentucky, but.
I mean, every year this happens.
Yeah.
You see a guy like Ben Simmons go to LSU, of all places. A guy like Markelle Fultz also go to Washington. This isn't unusual. It just feels weird that he decommitted because of
You don't see many guys decommit from Michigan State. I mean, Jalen Terry did it last year, but for a similar reason, just a position, probably just not going to get much touches at his position. But it just sucks because we have a loaded class, with Amoni Bates, Max Christie,
you'd have
Pierre
3
Brooks.
5-stars.
Yeah, and
is the idea.
If Amoni Bates and Bayuchi did reclassify, which I assume Baiucci is going to reclassify because why else would he decommit if he isn't going to?
And especially if he's saying that about next year's
because
team.
3 of those centers would be gone if he waited till 2022. Yeah. So he is going to reclassify, I assume. And it's unfortunate because it's just a bad time with State doing so poorly. It's kind of I don't know.
Feels like a nail
because the last couple recruiting classes for State, the 2018 and 19 class were just not really that good, I guess. They weren't we didn't really have any top prospects, and it's kind of in 2020 as well. I mean, Sissoko was a high 4-star, AJ Hogard was a 4-star, but we haven't really had top recruiting classes, and just have one of our guys from our top classes decommit just sucks.
And I think it's kind of showing that you guys haven't had many top recruits recently, because the top recruits you have left already, and now you're just left with everybody else, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
So that it does hurt for next year. Because you guys were, again, supposed to have one of the best colleges or best classes in the country. But you still have Max Christie to look forward to.
Exactly. And Max Christie is not going to decommit. No. I mean, he posted a thing on Instagram yesterday, just like a couple pictures from his game he had last night, and the location was Michigan State University, and it was in Texas or something.
Yeah. And I am a huge fan of Max Christie. He's a baller. He's a guy I will be supporting all the time at State.
I like Max Christie a lot. I'm super. I hope he's one of the next best State.
I want him to stay for 2 or 3 years at State too.
Oh yeah, I definitely think he'll be at least a 2-year player.
2-year player for sure.
But let's hop into the last news topic, and it will kind of shoot us into our next topic. But Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond both are going to be sat out until the Pistons and Cavs can come to an agreement to a trade with both of them. The Pistons situation is much different. So which one do we want? Let's talk about Blake Griffin first.
It's the simple one.
Blake Griffin is played very poorly this year. His game is just. His career's just been diminished by injury. I mean, it's really starting to show this year, and last year it was, whereas 2 years ago, he took this Pistons team to the playoffs, a horrible Pistons team to the playoffs, 3rd-team All-NBA, averaged 24 a game, 7-5 with it, I'm pretty sure, and was just a playmaker, one of the best all-around players in the NBA at his position, for sure, and has just become a spot-up shooter now, hasn't dunked a basketball in 2 years.
Which is nuts. That is the craziest.
Dunked the ball 8 times a game with the Clippers. It's just he's turning into another one of those just guys that careers get cut short. He's only 31 years old, and he looks like a very old 31.
He looks like 36, 37, the way he moves.
Mm-hmm. And he's on a large contract. I mean, I assume that there is teams that would like to have Blake Griffin because he is in a bad situation. I mean, the Pistons suck. So, I wouldn't really want to be playing that good either.
He doesn't really have, I don't want to say a not competent point guard, but not a true.
And he also
guard.
knows that he's definitely not a part of this team's future. This team does have they don't have a bright future, but they're moving in the right direction.
Good start.
But he knows that he's not a part of that. So what I would, and this was a mutual agreement between him and the Pistons.
He wants to be moved just as much as they want to move.
But I don't think they're going to be able to trade him.
Me either. I think it'll come to a buyout.
It will come to a buyout, which is going to be difficult because he's not on a 1-year deal. Technically he's on a 1-year deal, but he has a player option for next year, which he would be stupid not to accept. He definitely is going to accept it. So
maybe you can help explain to me how a buyout actually works. Do they just come to an agreement of you pay me $10 million right now?
Well, usually with buyouts only happen with one expiring deals usually. Okay. I've never personally seen a buyout other than Nicholas Batum's where it's more than 1 year. So last year, when Markieff Morris went in the Pistons and Reggie Jackson was making $18 million. They just bought him out. That you pay him the rest that you owe him right then and there, and then he can go sign with someone else and make more money. Usually they will sign a very small deal with that other team because they're getting money from their previous team and they want to go play for a contender. With Blake Griffin, I don't know how they're going to do it because they can stretch his contract out. That's how the Nicholas Batum thing, he was owed $27 million by Charlotte. They stretch it out to where they're giving him $9 million for the next 3 years, and he's not even on their team. Then now he's on the Clippers, probably making veterans minimum, I would assume.
That makes sense, though.
Blake Griffin is making, we owe him a lot more money than 20. We owe him. I'm pretty sure. I think it's high 60s. Yeah, because I think his player option is $38 million, and
he's making 30 million.
I think he's making 30 mil right now. So it's just it's a lot of money. I don't know how they would stretch it out, maybe over 4 years. It's kind of how a Josh Smith situation worked. The Pistons paid him for a long time, but I don't expect Blake to be out of the NBA. I definitely think a team would want him. It's a contending team. Even I have seen a couple trades, like trade suggestions, but I just don't think they would ever happen. Like there was
Blake Griffin's averaging 13 points a game this year.
And it's not on, and it's all on jump shots. Bad. Yeah, like he's just not. I don't know. He's just not Blake Griffin like he used to be. And if he was making like 20 mil, it'd be different. You might be able to move him. We'd have to give up assets to move him though, and that's not what Troy Weaver is wanting to do right now.
It's funny to listen to the way we talk about Blake Griffin and his struggles versus the way we talk about Andre Drummond last year. Because we were get him, we don't like him. But Blake Griffin, we're like, it's just not right. Yeah. It just doesn't feel right. Something's off.
And I like Blake. Yeah, I love what he's done. I love what he's done for the Pistons. And, he's been I've been a fan of Blake. He's been the best player on my favorite team for the last 3 years. So, of course, I'm going to like him. But it's hard not to. It's come to an end. I mean, and I don't know what they're going to do. I assume they're going to explore the trade market and see what they could get for him, but I don't think anyone's going to want it to do a trade. It's going to be very difficult just to match contracts. So
the thing is, Detroit was never really the spot for a guy like Blake Griffin anyways. Mm-hmm. Blake Griffin is an entertainer, like true at heart.
Yeah.
He is an entertainer. He is more a New York.
He's a comedian.
LA, some other big names, Miami. Chicago.
I think in Miami, city. I don't know if he would fit there as far as basketball-wise, but the culture there would, I don't know. I mean, they aren't doing very well now.
Not anymore. But I'm saying, just as an entertainer, he's not a small market guy. Mm-mm. He's not like a Giannis, who is a small market guy to me. He's not much of an entertainer outside of the game.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's easy to say that because he's never played in a large market. But, with Blake Griffin, and the same thing, I don't really want to make a trade because the point of us not playing Blake Griffin is so Sadiq Bey and Sekou can play more. But, I don't really want to make a trade for Blake Griffin because we're going to if we do make a trade, we have to get players back. And so, it's just more players that we maybe have to play. Unless we make a trade and then buy out those guys immediately. But like I said, I don't think they'll have to make a trade. We'll have to pay him. It's whatever. I don't really mind.
Me either. It's okay just to him just.
Who are we going to spend that money on anyways?
Even if we stretch out his buyout contract for the next 5-6 years,
that would kind of suck. I would rather just pay him the rest of this year and then next year we'll pay you that $38 million as if you were on our team and you're not. I would rather just because you can do that too.
Yeah, so that would work.
I would rather just do that because stretching it over. I mean, it would be nice to be less every year, but I just don't want to have to be paying him for the next 5 years too.
No, that's actually, just pay him next year. Mm-hmm. Just let him play for the Clippers. Yeah. We'll pay him.
So on to Andre Drummond. This one's a lot more different because there's been rumors about a Drummond buyout, but there's no way. If he gets bought out, I'm going to quit watching the NBA because he's just that's just stupid. No team wants to trade it's because he can just get bought out and then go play for Brooklyn. And it's just that's just dumb. I don't know. But it's just also crazy to think of what we got for Andre Drummond and teams. The Cavs are actually probably going to get. I mean, they're going to get more value than Brandon Knight and John Henson in a second-round pick.
Because there are so many teams that need a guy like Drummond right now.
Drummond has been playing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that just need a big. But yeah, Drummond is going to be done. This one was a little different because the Cavs have started to play really poorly. Jarrett Allen is definitely their future center, even though he's kind of, there's a couple clips of him being pretty frustrated already with the Cavaliers. But yeah, we're just going to talk about some Drummond trades and possibly where he could go. So I'm just going to name, these are just 5 that were from Bleacher Report that I just wrote down, figured we would talk about. First one is the Charlotte Hornets, a team that is in the playoff race right now, doesn't really have a good center. They've kind of been in the market for a center for the past couple of years. They would be trading for Drummond and giving up Malik Monk, Cody Zeller, and Bismack Biyombo.
Oh my!
If I'm Charlotte, I would do that.
If I'm Charlotte, I'm doing that. If I'm Cleveland,
you're getting Malik Monk. You're getting and Biyombo and Zeller are both on expiring deals. So
I guess you don't have to deal with them for this year, but you're also adding. I mean, you're not fixing your center position.
Yeah, but you don't have to play. You could buy both of them out if you want.
Yeah, I guess.
And you don't have to play Biyombo.
Yeah, and I was that's funny because I was thinking the Hornets do need they've been in the market for a big man for so long. They've been dealing with Cody Zeller and Bismack.
Exactly.
So no, that trade definitely makes sense.
Malik Monk,
Charlotte.
I mean, I would definitely take for Charlotte, I mean, because you're getting Drummond for 1 year because he's gonna. I mean, you might be able to re-sign him, but I don't know who's gonna pay him this offseason or anything. If you think that you can re-sign him, then I would be willing to give up Malik Monk. But if it's for like a rental just for this year, I don't know, because Malik Monk has been playing kind of decent this year.
Yeah,
so
you're not. It's not like you're gonna go out and win a ring.
Yeah.
With him playing center.
But they are going to make the. I mean, I don't want to say they are going to make the playoffs, but they would be a playoff contender. And with LaMelo Ball in his rookie year, that's really good for a rookie to have to get that playoff experience early.
Yeah, they'd be a fringe playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be right there. They might make it pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. The next team is one that I definitely am like. I like. It's the Dallas Mavericks trading for Drummond. They would be giving up Dwight Powell, James Johnson, and their second-round pick in the next 2 drafts, so in 2021 and 2022. This makes sense because Kristaps Porzingis he's really not a center. I mean, it's kind of come clear. He doesn't go in the paint like at all. No. All he does is shoot threes. And so to have that rebounding presence in Drummond would be huge for the Mavericks, I think, next to Porzingis, because their size would just be really well. And Drummond, honestly, he can like play make a little bit, actually. Like he's not an efficient player at all, but with the ball in his hand, I'm not like nervous, I guess.
I like that deal a lot, because we were talking about this the other day. Sam and I were sitting down watching the Mavericks game, and it was just, it's amazing to watch KP these days, because he doesn't dunk on anybody.
No.
He's not going to the paint like he used to.
He doesn't get he'll still get blocks, but like he doesn't get rebounds like he used to either. So he averages like 6 or 7 rebounds a game. So
bringing in a guy like Drummond to just do everything that KP doesn't, because KP does fine as a 4.
Yeah.
But the Mavs need a 5 right now, is what the issue is.
And they're trying to use Porzingis as the 5, which is just... it doesn't work.
It feels like KP is way older than he is from the way his career's changed. I mean, he used to be so athletic.
Yeah.
And he's already not
as
that
a tall,
anymore.
as a huge player.
Like, how old is
Like,
KP?
it's crazy that he's 7'3" and we're saying that he can't play center.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so weird. But I look at this deal, too, and I'm thinking the Cavs could probably get something better. I mean, James Johnson is only in this trade for money. Dwight Powell is only in this trade for money. And the 2 second-round picks,
2 seconds.
Maybe because it's 2 seconds and no other team would give up 2. But, I mean, if I'm them, I would rather take Malik Monk.
Me too.
Than taking a second-round pick. I don't know, maybe. This year's draft, I don't know. It's tough. The next one, though, is a 3-team trade. It has the New York Knicks getting Andre Drummond with, Mitchell Robinson being out for a few months. It's kind of going to be his replacement. And they also get the Mavs set. The Mavericks are in this one as well. They get the Mavs second. The Mavericks get Alec Burks, Frank Ntilikina, and Reggie Bullock. Just some more wing players to help them out. And then the Cavs get Kevin Knox, who they have rumored they want to trade, James Johnson, and a Dallas second-round pick.
I like that a lot, actually.
I do, too.
I'm not sure the Mavericks
Cavs get Kevin Knox. Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know. Why would the Mavericks want to
get Reggie Bullock and Alec Burks?
I mean, Alec Burks is pretty nice, I guess. And you're only giving up James Johnson, really, in 2 seconds. I would probably do that if I was the Mavericks.
Yeah, 3 players, Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, and Frank. Yeah, that's
would
good.
the Knicks do it, though? I mean, yeah, you're getting Drummond, but you're getting him for a 1-year rental just to replace Robinson while he's out. And you're giving up Frank, Knox, and Alec Burks. I mean, Reggie Bullock, too. But, I mean, Burks and Bullock are both going to be gone after this year anyways. But you're giving up 2 young players. I know both are looking like busts, but still, I mean, I don't know. That trade's all right.
Kevin Knox is a tough one for me to let go. Just because I was a guy who...
They have said that they are going to trade him, but he still has potential.
He does. It's still there.
Yeah. The last 2, I do like. This one is with the San Antonio Spurs, a team that I have not really seen in the Drummond talk at all, but they are getting LaMarcus Aldridge and their second-round pick this year, the Cavs, for Drummond.
Oh, that's not bad.
Isn't bad because, honestly, the Cavs would probably just buy Aldridge out. Aldridge, I'm pretty sure, is actually, I don't know if he's a free agent or not this offseason, but Aldridge has really not been good this year. He's been hurt for a while, but when he has played, he's older now. He's just turning into one of those players that's going to retire in the next couple of years. And the Spurs are playing pretty good basketball without a good center, so I like it for the Spurs. For the Cavs, though, you're not really getting anything.
You're getting
so
a second.
You could probably get something better. And then the last one, this one is a really interesting 3-team trade. Toronto Raptors are getting Drummond here, a team that has been rumored. Them and the Celtics, I think, are the 2 teams that have come out and said they are interested in Drummond. Toronto gets Drummond in this trade. Denver is in this trade, and they get Norman Powell, Aaron Baines, Stanley Johnson, and Patrick McCaw. So I don't know how they get 4 players out of this. And then Cleveland gets Gary Harris and Denver's first-round pick this year. Lottery protected, but I assume, they're not going to, they'll make the playoffs. So the Cavs will get Denver's pick. Which, Cleveland getting a first-round pick out of Drummond, I think I would take that over any day. Over Malik Monk, over Kevin Knox, just because those guys don't really have as much potential as a first-round pick, as a 20th pick, let's say, that would
especially
be Denver's.
In this year's.
Yeah. And Denver, I would be willing to give up that pick because Norman Powell is a much upgraded version of Gary Harris, for sure. And you're getting Aaron Baines to come off your bench and be a stretch 5. Toronto. Does Toronto do it, though? That's the part that really is the factor for me. They said they are interested in Drummond, but you're giving up Norman Powell, who I still say to this day, I think he's one of the best role players in the NBA. He's just a really, really good role player. You're giving up Aaron Baines. I know he hasn't been that good this year, but
he's still a quality big man.
For like I said, a half-year rental of Drummond. If you're confident you can extend him, then maybe you do it, but I don't know. Because you're going to be losing Kyle Lowry this year as well, so you're going to have money to sign him.
And I'm looking at the roster. I think you really limit Pascal Siakam by putting Drummond in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
I think you seriously limit him and stunt his growth for half a year. And you're giving up Norman Powell, who I really, really like.
Yeah.
Like, that Nuggets team would be very good with Norman Powell and Aaron Baines.
Yeah.
I would love those two guys.
But the thing is, though, this is a thing for Toronto where they had a slow start to the year. They have picked it up, but they're still they're in the playoffs, but they're below 500 still. So this move kind of is to jump them up into the higher part of the Eastern Conference. But it's risky because you're giving up Norman Powell, who is under contracts. At least for next year. I don't know. It's tough.
Trading Drummond alone is tough.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that last year.
Yeah.
There's a market for him, but there's a market for him, not for his contract.
Yeah, and there's two teams here that I definitely think are going to be active to get Drummond that there wasn't trades for, and that is Boston and Brooklyn. Boston being the main one because they have a trade exception for Gordon Hayward. They have a couple larger contracts they can try and move. Daniel Tyson, Tristan Thompson. Not larger, but in that $8 to $12 million range. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Drummond. Hopefully he gets traded sooner rather than later, just because it's kind of pointless him just sitting the bench right now. He's still a good player. I hate to say it. I'm not a Drummond fan, but he's still a good player. So he definitely doesn't deserve to be just sitting out right now. I want to see him play for a good team because he's never gotten to play for a good team.
Never. He doesn't know what it's
He's made the playoffs twice. Got swept in the first round both times. But that's the thing. Drummond on a good team, I just don't. Kenny said the other day he's the only player he's ever seen that is good, that he thinks is good and bad at basketball.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He is good, but on a good team, I don't think he'd be good.
Me either. I think he'd be very bad.
Yeah.
He'd just be out there.
Would he make the team bad? I don't know.
Would he just be another Tristan Thompson was good for
He would have to change his role.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
He'd have to play like Tristan Thompson did for the Cavs.
So on that note, I think it's time to hop into our power rankings. We're already 40 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten into the power rankings, so
we've got a lot.
Let's do it. This is the second time we've done this. We did the first one a week, 2.5 weeks ago, 1.5 weeks. It was on a Saturday, but
this was hard.
It was hard. Yeah,
this is so hard every time.
Because things have changed. There's definitely tiers of teams for sure. So
yeah, and that's the way the NBA works.
Yeah,
there's tiers big time.
Okay, I want to ask right now I'll wait till when we're done. Actually, I'll wait till we're done. Number 30 for me is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Me too. Yep. Minnesota Timberwolves.
7-21, worst record in the NBA. They don't have their star point guard for the next few weeks. It's not going to be a fun season for Minnesota. Yeah. We've talked about them enough this episode.
They don't even talk anymore.
Who you got at 29?
29 might be a surprise, actually. It is still the Detroit Pistons for me. They've won a couple big games, but they're not good.
I don't have the Pistons here at 29. I have the Washington Wizards at 29 because I wanted to put the Pistons a little higher just because they have had some, they're on a 2-game winning streak, but Washington is too. Washington's sitting at 8-17. Bradley Beal is still playing really good, but other than that, they still suck.
Yep. Number 27.
Wait, do you have you did say you're 28.
28 is what I'm at.
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I'm at. I have a team that last time I made this power rankings was way higher. Way higher. I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I figured that's who it was.
1-9, lost 8 straight. this team is just completely flipped around, not looking good. I've got them at 28.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, there was that play the other night of Jared Allen getting all mad, and Cavs fans are kind of overreacting to it, but I don't know. I mean, Colin Sexton has not been the Colin Sexton from 2 weeks ago. Neither is just anyone on that team, but it's not a bad thing that they suck. I mean, they have a nice young future. Yeah. Like they really do. You don't have to go out and compete this year. You can benefit from being a lottery team again this year for sure. And you could even trade that pick for a veteran player to maybe help your team out, or you can just keep drafting young guys.
I mean, they've got some guys under contract right now for a while. I mean, Jarrett Allen, Colin Sexton, Darius Garland. Why can't I think of the rookie's name?
Okoro.
And those are lots of good guys. You've thrown one lottery pick, and then you start trying to win now.
Yeah.
Then it's okay. Let's go.
And they have pieces that they can move, like Drummond. They're gonna get something for Drummond. Kevin Love, I don't think will finish the year as a Cavalier. I assume he'll get bought out or traded at some point. Yeah. I mean, this team is. There's nothing to worry about as a Cavs fan. No, but they have been playing very badly though. They are still the best, or still the worst scoring team in the NBA too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're 30th in the NBA points per game.
So who's your 28?
My 28 was the Pistons.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the Pistons. What the moves that they're making. Sadiq Bey is finally playing big minutes. They play tonight against the Bulls. I'm super excited to watch him because I haven't watched him in a few days, and I really want to see if Sadiq Bey is going to. He played 38 minutes in their game against the Pelicans the other night. I want to see if he continues to play that much. Sekou has been hurt the last 2 games. That's why he hasn't played at all.
They play tonight, right?
Yeah, they play Chicago tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. And there's been a couple players on the Pistons that are raising their trade deadline potential with DeLon Wright and Wayne Ellington specifically. Yeah, like DeLon Wright is reportedly the Sixers are interested in DeLon Wright. Ellington, I feel like Wayne Ellington will probably end up just being a buyout guy, or he'll just play the rest of the year. But I mean, he's a valuable player. He knocks down shots like crazy. But Josh Jackson has been playing really well. Svi even had a good game. I like the Pistons, man. They are fun to watch. I don't care what anyone says. Kenny even said it the other
Pistons.
Day. He said the other day, because he was talking, it was on his Kenny for Real thing, and he was like, the other week I was like, man, why would I watch the Pistons? Like, he was like, I'm not going to talk about them. I didn't watch it. Why would I watch it? He goes, now I watch every Pistons game. He goes, they're fun to watch. They really are fun to watch.
And I love this Pistons roster.
They are doing, like, Troy Weaver is so far done such an excellent job as a GM of this team. He is really all in on the youth movement, and I love it. Like, I love it.
Dwayne Casey's now in.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out and said it. This might be his last year.
Dwayne Casey, yeah. I'll make you a deal. You absolutely commit to this youth movement, and next year you can go sign with a good team and maybe be their coach. But
just come here for now. Just lose is all we need.
But yeah, the Pistons, I like watching the Pistons.
Me too.
Well, I'll talk about something with the Pistons once I get to another team later a topic I kind of wanted to bring up, but I'll wait till we get to that other team.
My number 27 is the Washington Wizards.
Okay, and my number 27 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So.
All new teams. My number 26, Orlando Magic.
My number 26 is the Houston Rockets, another team that is on it. Yep. They've lost six straight. They've, they looked good after the James Harden trade for like a week, and ever since then, they really don't, but
I think it was...
Who's that rookie they got? Jayshawn Tate. He's been playing really well for them, actually. But Christian Wood injury also doesn't help at all because Boogie, I love Boogie. He's just not what he used to be, and he really can't do as much as Christian Wood can.
And I think this team there was an excitement after the James Harden trade. I think that's probably left as they've realized, wait a minute, we might not be that good.
John Wall's finally back, and he's been playing pretty well.
VO's been kind of banged up.
Yeah, VO too. It's interesting to see what they're going to do with Victor Oladipo because there's a lot of rumor that they're just going to flip Oladipo at the deadline, which would make sense because he is an unrestricted free agent this offseason, and a contender would like a guy like Oladipo for sure.
So Magic are 2-8 in their last 10, so that's why I've got them.
I got them at 25 too.
Yeah, and my 25 is the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I mean Orlando. I haven't really got to watch much of them in this losing streak. Vucevic is still balling. Other than that, they're without their 2 young stars. Yeah. So
24.
They can benefit from being a poor team this year for sure.
24. I've got the Atlanta Hawks.
I also got the Atlanta Hawks. Man, they're 2-8 in their last 10 as well. They've lost 4 straight. What is up with the Atlanta Hawks? They were supposed to be top of the Eastern. I mean, not top, but Eastern Conference playoff team. They just have such a nice put together roster, and they just can't put it together. This was the team that I wanted to talk about when I said I'm going to bring up something. I'm pretty sure the Atlanta Hawks said they are going to trade John Collins, whether it's in the offseason or at the trade deadline, because he is a guy who he declined like a high 20 extension, but he wants a max. And is he a max player? The Atlanta Hawks don't think so. So what I was thinking is what would it take for the Detroit Pistons to get John Collins? Would you give John Collins the max, first of all, as a pit? Like, let's say they don't trade him. We wait till the offseason. He's a restricted free agent. Pistons throw him a bag. 5-year player option on the 5th year bag max contract. Would you be okay with that?
No.
I just wanted to see what you'd say.
I am a guy who's just not very high on John Collins. I never have been. I think he's a showstopper. He reminds me a lot of Kuzma. And they're not similar. It's just like how they are. And what I mean by that is consistency. They're just not there. John Collins is not worth a max right now. I really don't think so. I don't even think if you base it off his potential, he's worth a max. I don't see him as a max contract player ever in the NBA.
That's the thing. I feel like someone will give him the max, though. So if I'm Atlanta, let's say if they continue to just like be kind of average and like out of the playoff race, I would trade him at the deadline. If not, though, like if they're not trying to trade John Collins for like 4 first-round picks, like they're still trying to do good. I mean, they went out and spent money this offseason. So I would assume that it would be for some talent in return. And a trade that I saw was with the Pistons. It was a 3-team trade, sending John Collins to Detroit. Blake Griffin is in the trade, sending him to OKC, back to Oklahoma. And then Al Horford's involved in the trade because because of money. I think he's going to Atlanta, back to Atlanta. And then we also give Atlanta Jeremy Grant, which I wouldn't want to give up on Jeremy. But like the thing is, who has more potential though, John Collins or Jeremy Grant?
Jeremy Grant.
You think so?
Yeah, and Jeremy Grant.
John Collins is 4 years younger.
Yeah, but Jeremy Grant's contract is so pretty. It's so nice.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess.
I don't think John Collins.
No, trust me. I don't want to trade Jeremy Grant either. Like it's way too early to. I want to see what he can do. For a whole season.
Maybe 2. I want to see him next year.
Definitely. Oh, I do too. But it's too early to trade Jeremy Grant. Like I wouldn't want to as a Pistons fan. I don't think Troy Weaver would do that. But it's interesting because like next year, I wouldn't imagine if we got both of them. If we went out and gave John Collins a max. I just don't know. I don't know. It's interesting to see, but I definitely think the Pistons would be one of those teams that would be in the talks for acquiring John Collins.
Yeah, and I don't think it doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense is giving him a max.
And we are loaded at the forward position. So
we have Sekou, Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey. He can
play the 2.
I really do think Sadiq Bey will be a 2.
Yeah,
career
especially with the current Pistons front office and everything. Troy Weaver likes the tall 2s. Josh Jackson plays the 2. He's 6'8", so
yeah. And you know what's funny about this Hawks team that I want to talk about is the Miami Heat were a team that wasn't star loaded. They weren't really star heavy. They were just built perfectly. And that is exactly what I thought would happen with the Atlanta Hawks. Clearly shows why I'm sitting here on a podcast and not the GM of an NBA team. Because if I'm looking,
I didn't have them in the playoffs. Just want to let that be known.
I looked at their roster and thought they'd be one of the best teams in the East. Like
that's
actually a top 5.
On paper, teams are much different. I mean, on paper, there's a lot of teams that Washington Wizards should be a playoff team on paper. So
see, on paper to me though, the Hawks should be great.
Yeah,
like their roster just seems. Danilo Gallinari doesn't need the ball to be successful.
But the thing is, Danilo Gallinari has been really bad this year.
But why?
Bogdanovich has been hurt the whole year. I mean, this team also has had the injury bug for sure.
But they were also built for the. They were built.
Bug. Yeah, they were built for a COVID season. Yeah, and it just hasn't looked well.
Clearly, we are wrong.
But there's plenty of time to pick it up, especially in an Eastern Conference where there's like 2 teams above 500 or 3 teams above 500. So like, they definitely can turn things around. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with John Collins.
I'll tell you right now, in my power rankings, it is very West heavy.
Oh,
very.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
23 though. I do have Western Conference team. I got the OKC Thunder. They are 3-7 in their last 10. Al Horford's actually been playing pretty well.
Yeah, I know.
Oddly.
Shea's been out too for like the last week. OKC definitely like is really competitive though, and they don't know how to tank either.
They remind me of the Pistons.
They don't know how to tank. Like they really need to start playing bad because there's no point in them doing good. But whatever. I got the Sacramento Kings at 23 though. They've lost 4 straight.
I got the Kings higher.
Don't got much to say about
it.
them.
Was actually because I looked at it, then I saw their losing streak, and I was like, they're not that much higher. I'll just leave them.
They are 30th in the NBA in points allowed. They give up. They're the worst defensive team in the NBA technically.
22. I have the Miami Heat. They are on the up and ups. They are starting to play well. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Things are starting to turn around. I'm still not sold. I'm not sure how good.
Wow,
this
that's
team is.
low. That's really low. Like I know that they're not doing good. I don't have them like high or anything, but I just feel like they're better. They're still better than a lot of.
There are 2 teams that I have in front of them that I think could be put behind them. Actually.
Okay. My number 22 is OKC though. I got them 11-16. Like we said, they're all right.
They're all right. They're
Nothing
just
much
there.
about them.
21. I got the Chicago Bulls, also 5-5 in their last 10.
I also got Chicago Bulls at 21.
I don't really know what to talk about them.
They are also in a weird situation with Zach LaVine because it was looking like Zach LaVine was for sure going to get traded, but now he's kind of gotten to the point where he's kind of like too good to
just leave
to trade. I mean, I feel like you might have to just try and throw him a bag, and maybe he wants to stay in Chicago, but he's going to get a bag by someone. It's just I don't think he wants to go back to Chicago or stay in Chicago. So number 20.
Number 20, I got the Sacramento Kings.
Okay. Number 20, I have kind of a surprise here. I feel like you might have them a little higher. It's the Memphis Grizzlies.
A little bit. Not
they're
much.
11-12. You know, they've still played like the least amount of games because they had to sit out a bunch. Speaking of that, the Spurs are going to be missing their next 4, and I think Charlotte is the other team that's going to be missing in their next couple games. But Memphis is, Ja Morant, since coming back, he played really well right when he came back, and ever since then, he just hasn't been shooting the ball very well. He doesn't really shoot that many threes really anymore. But Memphis, like I said, is another team that can benefit from being bad, and I think that they should. I would move to not the tank, but just not do so well.
Cruise control.
Exactly. You don't have to. If you're down by 20 in a game, let's just lose that one. So
well, especially with Jaren Jackson, don't bring him back this year.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, I would definitely unless for some reason Memphis goes on a 10-game win streak, like starts going off. Yeah, then you do. But this is a team that like if they get a top 10 pick, I wouldn't draft someone. I would trade that. I would trade that pick and get a star, get a Bradley Beal on your team, and become a top dog in the West.
I agree. Number 19, a team that for a second was really turning it around. The New Orleans Pelicans.
I got them at 19 too.
Still just not very good.
I mean, the thing is,
now we're talking about mid-tier teams.
Okay, this is I'm about to say the weirdest thing ever, something that I never thought I would say. Zion is underrated. He is. What? No one talks about Zion anymore.
Yeah,
Zion is really good.
Yeah,
like
he is.
Actually, it's weird that he's good to me because he doesn't shoot. He actually did make a 3 the other night, but he doesn't shoot. He literally gets all of his points in the paint, but he just doesn't miss. He's a smaller player that plays in the paint in today's NBA. Like how would that work? But he's just a bully in the paint. He can score on anyone. No one can guard Giannis. Rudy Gobert in the paint. That's easy. That's barbecue chicken.
Nobody can score at Zion.
Did I say yeah? Why did I say Giannis?
No, you're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
No one can defend Zion in the paint.
No, it's like the weirdest thing.
He's like a beast, and I really am starting to see the Zion's going to be like the best player in the NBA thing, mainly because he's on my fantasy team. But yeah,
it's his ability to hang in the air that I think makes him.
And
so
he does,
lethal.
and he controls the ball so well too when he's in the air.
Yeah, Zion is. I love the memes of the ESPN when LaMelo Ball got drafted. They're just throwing Zion away.
But it's another interesting scenario for them is the Lonzo Ball because it looks like he's gonna get traded, but it looks like a lot of players are gonna get traded and they never do. So
18. This is a team that I don't like putting this low, and it makes me feel weird because roster wise they are so good, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. They are 5-5 in their last 10, haven't been very good, and Luka hasn't been very great. He's been good. I mean,
he's putting up crazy numbers,
but they're not translating. Yeah. Something's wrong, clearly.
They're not winning.
They'd be winning. Because any other guy puts up numbers like that's not Bradley Beal, their team usually wins. So it's scary when Luka's doing that.
Dallas is, because Luka, he's putting up great numbers, and he has been shooting the ball better too, But I don't know if it's such a Luka problem, though, because
I'm not sure it is either.
Dallas, they got to do something because they just can't shoot the ball very well, and they also can't play defense. And I feel like you have to either be good at one or the other to be a good team. Like last year, they were a very good shooting team. Wasn't a very good defense, but at least they could shoot the ball really well. This year, they can't really do either. So. They need to do something because they're sitting at 13 and 15, which if they're in the East, yeah, they'd be a playoff team, but not in the West.
I really saw Luka, and I know this is super early to say, and this is my way too early hot take, but I thought Luka was going to be a Dallas Mavericks lifer. Like, I just saw them already.
You don't think he's gonna?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, and now I'm like, he might leave. I mean, in 3 years. That's what I'm saying. It's way too early to say, but
I don't think he will ever leave Dallas.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I thought.
I think he'll be just like Dirk.
Or Giannis.
But, I mean, we have 15 more years of Luka, so.
Which is nuts.
Yeah. My number 18 is the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, I mean, Melo Ball. Here's a question. They were talking about this on Through the Wire. You're a GM. You get to choose one of these players to be your franchise point guard for the future. LaMelo Ball or Ja Morant. Who are you picking?
Oh, my word. Ja Morant.
I'm taking Ja Morant, too, but LaMelo
That's
Ball.
so tough.
If you asked me that question a month ago, it's Ja Morant 100%. Now, it's debatable.
Yeah.
It for sure is debatable.
Well, because LaMelo's 6'9".
And LaMelo's also 2 years younger than Ja Morant. Ja Morant's like 22, I think, already.
LaMelo Ball's like a child.
Yeah.
In the NBA. He acts like a child in the NBA. I'm surprised some of the players don't feel like his father. Like, actually.
But LaMelo Ball has really just, like, made... You were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but, like, he's just... He takes the stress off of Rozier and Devontae Graham. Like, he does all the playmaking, so those guys who really aren't true point guards, Rozier and they're scorers, in my opinion. They're not point. Malik Monk, too. Malik Monk is a very undersized shooting guard. He's like 6'1". They're scorers. They're not playmakers. With LaMelo Ball there, them three guys, that 3-point guard lineup of Melo, Rozier, and Devontae Graham, guess what? It works.
Yeah.
Especially when Gordon Hayward's been hurt. That's what they've been doing. They've been running them three together on the court a lot. And
LaMelo is playing point guard, but he is the small forward on defense.
Exactly.
He's 6 foot. He plays point guard on offense and small forward on defense, which is what the NBA has been moving towards this whole time is versatility.
Yeah.
Can you play point guard on offense and go guard? Cade Cunningham's going to go in this year, play point guard on offense.
Primary ball handler, play point guard, and then go guard a 4 maybe.
1 through 4. He'll go guard any of them.
Exactly.
That's what the NBA is moving towards, and LaMelo Ball is peak that. That's where Ja Morant isn't. You can't go stick Ja Morant on a 3 or 4.
You can put him on a 3 maybe. A smaller 3, but not like a Kevin Durant 3.
I'm not saying Melo's a good defender.
Yeah.
He's not.
Like I would say Ja's a better defender than Melo, but
I agree.
He just has the size advantage.
Yep. My number 17, speaking of Ja, is the Memphis Grizzlies.
My number 17 is the Miami Heat. I had them a good amount higher than you, but they're playing better.
Number 16, Charlotte Hornets.
My number 16, I feel like you're going to have them a lot higher too. It's the New York Knicks. They have won 3 straight, but they're at 14 and 15. Julius Randle really actually is like proving to me that he maybe should be an all-star. But
I don't know, dude. I was thinking about the other day. It's so hard for Julius Randle to make the all-star
game. It is.
Game.
It's very difficult for him too. But the Derrick Rose trade has helped this team out. I mean, he's been playing pretty well for them, and they've been playing well. And I like the Knicks playing. It's fun to see the Knicks doing
decent,
good. Yeah. I mean, they're not good, but they're better than the worst team in the league like they've been the last 5 years.
They're one of the best defenses in the league.
They're the number 1 in points allowed, so I'm pretty sure they're the worst offense, but they're 29th in offense. But
I've got them, they're 3rd in defensive rating.
Yeah.
So my number 15.
Okay.
Indiana Pacers. Sliding. They're 3 and 7 in the last 10. Not looking very good. And I don't really know what to say because I haven't gotten to watch very much of them.
And they're still the 5th seed in the East. Which is just absurd. Indiana. I haven't really got to watch them either. TJ McConnell has been playing a lot for them and been playing pretty well. But other than that, I haven't got to see much of them. They're missing. I mean, it's kind of. I don't want to say I expected them to start falling off, but they traded away Victor Oladipo for right now nothing because Karis LeVert can't play. So they lost one of their best players, if not their best player,
for nothing.
So obviously they're going to take a fall of some sort. But my number 15 is the Toronto Raptors, a team that has been playing better, but I mean, Pascal Siakam definitely has gotten his way back into that All-Star category. I bet he'll make the All-Star game, honestly, just because the All-Star game is still a couple weeks away.
Well, I don't know. Final day of voting was yesterday, though.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. But, oh, yeah, I did, actually, because
Yeah,
I've been retweeting all the Pistons ones. But Siakam has been playing a lot better, and Toronto definitely is a team that I expect to make a move at the deadline. And, yeah.
14, I've got the Toronto Raptors. Like Kyle just said, they're just not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting back to where they were. They're moving in the right direction. They're not there yet.
I'd be shocked if the Raptors missed the playoffs. I would be shocked if they were the top 6 seed too. Yep. Like I definitely expect them to turn things around.
Me too.
But like I said, this is gonna be the last year of Kyle Lowry, most likely in Toronto, because I assume them bringing back Van Vliet was a sign of he's kind of gonna be the future point guard of this team. So
he's the future Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
exactly. It's really weird to think about Kyle Lowry. Because in my head, I love Kyle Lowry. He's been with the Raptors his whole career.
Yeah,
even though I know that's not true. I know he played for the Grizzlies and
the Rockets.
Yeah. Like I know. I was gonna say Clippers, so I guess I don't know. Eric Bledsoe played for the Clippers.
Yeah.
But he is a Raptors lifer to me, and I think that's so weird because I can't even picture him in the Grizzlies or Rockets.
And a team like the Miami Heat, I feel like could use a Kyle Lowry for sure.
They could.
I mean, they could use everyone. Yeah. Everyone always says the Heat.
that post you sent me the other day. That was so funny.
Where are we at? 14.
You're 14.
I got Dallas at 14.
Yeah, my 14 was the Raptors.
And my number 13 is the Indiana Pacers.
13, New York Knicks.
So we're gonna have a new top 12 here.
And this was tough.
Yeah.
I've got a team that I did not think was going to be good, very good at all this year in my top 10. I'm not going to say where, but number 12.
Yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah, you know who it is. Golden State Warriors, I've got at number 12. They're 5-5. They're a really good defensive team. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. They've been playing really good defense this year, but it's still, they're just missing. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff missing. Obviously, we've talked about
Steph Curry, though, has been nuts this year. He's averaging very similar numbers to his unanimous MVP year. Obviously, the Warriors aren't, as record-wise aren't the best. But, I mean, if this Warriors team is a top 5 seed in this year's West, Curry could come down with the MVP. I mean, the MVP race is wide open right now. And if Curry keeps putting up these numbers, Warriors start winning more games, he might deserve it for sure. My number 12 is the Boston Celtics, a team that is just, what the hell's going on? Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
What the hell's going on with Boston? They're not as good as they were. Kemba Walker, man, he's just really doesn't fit this team.
He's fallen off.
He just does, and it's not that he has fallen off, but he just doesn't. It's like Kyrie with this team.
No, exactly.
The emergence of but it's worse because Jaylen Brown and Tatum are way better than when Kyrie was there, and
Kemba does not play.
Kemba is a scorer. No, Kemba is not a point guard.
No.
He is the point guard.
He's always played.
He's always played point guard. He's not what you would think a point guard is. He doesn't play make at all. The dude averages 4 assists a game his whole career. Everyone's saying they got to trade Kemba. I don't know if they're going to do it this year, but I would assume that this is going to be his last year in Boston. I just think unless they go on a crazy run. This Boston team is not a championship team, I don't think, by any means, especially I think there's 3 teams in the East that are way more of contenders than them. And even Jason Tatum hasn't even been playing the greatest as of lately.
And this team literally doesn't have a playmaker. Mm-hmm. And we've seen what that does to teams in the playoffs.
And you look at this team's offense, you would think that they're, or just players that have great offensive ability on this team. They're 22nd in points per game in the NBA.
It's amazing.
Marcus Smart is another guy that people have been rumored to trade, and he's the backbone of this team.
You can't trade
Marcus Smart.
No,
but anyone else other than Smart, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, I think are open. Anyone.
Me too. I think you could literally trade anybody on the roster.
Yeah.
Everybody should be available.
Will they? No, because the Celtics always are supposed to make trades for people, and they never do. They were supposed to get Anthony Davis. They were supposed to get Porzingis.
Danny Ainge is the most stingy player. Who was it? Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley.
Yeah, he wouldn't give up Jay Crowder for who was it? It was Boogie. For someone. No, it wasn't Boogie. It was
Melo?
Oh, no, it was a really good wing player. I don't remember who it was. It was a guy who was in trade rumors a couple years ago. Was it Paul George? It might have been Paul George.
It might have been Paul George.
He wouldn't give up Jay Crowder, though.
And it was are you kidding me,
or
dude?
Avery Bradley, yeah.
That Danny Ainge is too stingy. Get him out of there.
Number 11.
Number 11 is a team that has scratched and clawed their way up here. Denver Nuggets. They're back. They're 5-5 their last 10.
Yeah.
So how back are they? But they're playing much better basketball now.
They beat They beat the Lakers the other night.
Yep. So they're a good basketball team.
And my 11 is Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I'm surprised Denver didn't make it in your top 10 over Boston, honestly.
10 is the Celtics.
Yeah, I figured they would be 10, but my number 10 is the team that you were just talking about, your surprise team, the San Antonio Spurs. This is a team that, like I said, no LaMarcus Aldridge. They've benefited from that, not having any LaMarcus Aldridge. I talk about their young, late first-round picks all the time, but it is crazy how well this team has drafted over the past several years. I mean, all of their rookies, or not all their rookies, all of their young players are all late-round picks. None of them are top 5, top 10 picks. I mean, DeJounte Murray was a mid-first. Keldon Johnson was a late first. Lonnie Walker was a late first.
Derek White
was second-round pick, I'm pretty sure. Devin Vassell was the 9th pick in the draft, but they're just playing really well, and DeRozan has been playing really well too. They might have to give DeRozan an all-star appearance just because of how well the Spurs have been playing. And I would like to see San Antonio make a trade for a guy who can help them right now, a big man, and maybe even make a run. I mean, I don't know, because this is another scenario where I could see San Antonio just go on like a 10-game losing streak and just fall out. Like they easily could. Yeah, because they don't have the star talent, but I don't know. It would be cool to see. You can never count the Spurs out, ever.
It is nuts how many times in the last 10 years the Spurs have drafted somebody great. Mm-hmm. Who was the guy they had a couple years ago who just balled out for like 10 games and they traded him? Oh, my word. I'm not going to remember who it is.
I have no clue.
Not going to remember. He dunked on everybody. Like, he randomly had like 10 games in a row of like 20 points.
A wing player or a point guard?
Wing. He played the wing.
Black or white?
Black. What? He had a beard. I don't even know if they drafted him. They might have just picked him up and he just started balling.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of it. I can't think of it at all.
My number 9 is the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. My number 9 is Denver. So
whole new to 8.
Yep.
Number 8, the Bucks.
I got the Bucks at 8 too.
5-5.
I definitely
lost
thought
4 straight.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have them a lot higher, but this is a Bucks team that is prided on their defense, and they are 21st in the NBA in points allowed. They are doing really good on offense this year, but they got Drew Holiday, one of, if not the best perimeter defender in the NBA. Giannis, I say one of.
Yeah.
Probably the best guard defender in the NBA. Giannis, defensive player of the year last year. Brook Lopez, one of the best shot blockers in the NBA. And Chris Middleton, a great defender. And Dante DiVincenzo, a great defender. And they're still just very average defense. Yeah, I don't know. Milwaukee, they'll figure it out. I still think that they are, I don't know if they're my favorite out of the East, but I like them. I like them more than Philly, though. It's between them and Brooklyn for me.
It's between Philly and Brooklyn.
Yeah, but right now, Philly's better than Milwaukee. But I'm just saying, in the long run, come playoff time, I'm going to take Milwaukee.
And you know what? Honestly, probably in the long run, I would too.
Right now, though, no.
Number 7, a surprise team, but not a surprise to me. I thought they were going to be damn good this year. The Phoenix Suns.
Oh, wow.
8-2 in their last 10. You got them way higher?
No, well, I have them higher, but the team that you didn't say was the surprising one to me. You want to talk about Phoenix, though?
Yeah, Phoenix is... their roster is built so well. You got guys like Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson who don't make mistakes. They are clamp-up defenders who just do everything right on offense.
Yeah.
Devin Booker, I didn't get to watch the Nets game last night. We went to bed because it was a blowout.
I watched the highlights today, though. Harden hit that crazy 3 to pretty much ice the game.
I'm going to stat about Harden in a little bit. It's nuts.
The Suns did play pretty well in that game. But
I heard Devin Booker just didn't even look aggressive in the fourth quarter. Like, it just didn't. He looked off.
Yeah, I guess there wasn't many. I mean, I just saw the highlights. You saw highlights. So, like, there wasn't many Devin Booker highlights. But
this team, I love this team. I love the roster. I love Chris Paul. I love Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton still doesn't look right. Mm-hmm. He's just not physical enough. He doesn't dunk on people. He's not going up and getting and ones. I think Kenny says he shoots like 2 free throws a game.
Yeah.
How does that happen if you're built like David Robinson?
Yeah, that's the thing. DeAndre Ayton is one of the most looking-wise, like appearance-wise, one of the most muscular players in the NBA. Like, I don't know if he actually is, but he looks like one of the most jacked
His shoulders are so broad. It's unreal.
Like, his build is crazy.
I love the Phoenix Suns. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're definitely as of right now, for sure. No, not for sure, but they are looking like a second-round playoff team right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 7 for me is a team that I was surprised that you had them higher than Phoenix. It's the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, I got them way higher.
I was surprised by that. I mean, Portland is, they're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight. A fantastic offense, and they're doing it with it's Dame. It's Dame time.
They're a top 5 offense in the league right now.
And they are, they're losing no CJ, no Nurk. Ennis Kanter's been playing really well for them, playing center, which he played good with them in Portland the first time.
I'm surprised you have this team so low.
I mean, I like Portland a lot. I really like Portland. Gary Trent, though, has really been playing well for them, and that brings up the debate about what to do with CJ McCollum. They were talking about this on Through the Wire, too. There's been talk that it's not like the rumor that they're going to do it at all. Nothing has come out from the Blazers, but it's just like NBA Twitter talking about it. Should the Blazers get rid of CJ? Because next year, Gary Trent's a restricted free agent next year. So you either have to pay Gary Trent. You're not going to be able to pay Gary Trent with your current roster. So you either trade CJ and capitalize off of him while he's, injured right now, I guess, and then stick to Gary Trent as your future guard. I don't know.
I honestly,
I don't know, because CJ was balling this year when he was playing. He's averaging 27 a game.
And I get that, but this team has been hit by the injury bug over and over and over, and CJ McCollum is not helping.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an injury-prone player, but he has his injuries too.
Yeah.
If you can get another, Gary Trent doesn't. Gary Trent's been fine,
and he's good. Like Gary Trent, I had him in fantasy for the last 2 weeks. I just dropped him, but
I really think you can move CJ McCollum if it comes down to it. I wouldn't be surprised. Do they? I'm not sure. But
I doubt it. Like I would be really shocked.
Again, he's a Portland lifer to me.
Yeah, but it's just a thought. It's just a theory.
Just throw it out there. My number 6 is they came back last night. Brooklyn Nets.
I got them at 6 as well.
This James Harden stat is nuts. James Harden has played 16 games this year, I think.
With the Nets, or it has to be with the Nets.
Has to be with the Nets. Yeah. So in 10 of those games, he has hit 10 consecutive shots. In those games.
What?
Most players, it takes a whole season to do that. He's hit 10
shots in a row in 10 different games?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
That's the craziest
I'm surprised
stat I've
that
ever
that's even done in a season.
That's the craziest stat I've ever heard.
How do you hit 10 shots in a row once?
I don't know. That's the craziest stat and it might be counting free throws.
Oh, it probably is.
It probably counts free throws, but even then.
Still, yeah.
Now I'm
it does make it a little less impressive if it includes free throws. I feel like it has to include free throws because his field goal percentage would be 70%.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it's including free throws.
But yeah, Harden hit that crazy game winner last night for Brooklyn over a really good Phoenix team. And without KD and Kyrie, this team has won. KD hasn't played in like 3 games. They've won 4 straight. No Kyrie last night. Nets, Lakers tomorrow night. Who you got? I mean, KD and Kyrie are going to be back. I assume that's why they both were out the last couple games.
I think we could actually see, if you want my real prediction, like an actual in-depth, I think KD's going to get hurt midway through the game. He's just going to go out with an injury.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you predict that?
He's had the, I just don't, there's no reason for him to play.
I think back spasms has been his injury.
No reason for him to play this game.
Yeah.
That's what so like, it won't be like oh my God, he's injured. It'll be like there's no reason for you to play.
I'm going to go with the Nets just because no AD. The Lakers, they haven't really been, they've been winning games, but they've all been close. Like they are the comeback kings. They've been going to OT a bunch too. So my number 6, was Brooklyn as well. Number 1 offense in the league. Still, though, the 3rd worst defense.
Yep. Number 5 for me.
Top 5.
Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow, you have Portland above Philly? Oh, my word.
I mean, you got to think. Philly's 6-4 in their last time.
Yeah, I know, but still, like...
Portland's been playing really good.
I'm just surprised you had Phoenix lower than them. Like, I have Phoenix at 5. I thought you were going to have Phoenix much lower. But the surprising thing to me about Phoenix is their defense. They're 4th in the NBA in points allowed. I thought that their offense was their strong suit, but they don't really have a lot of defenders other than Mikal Bridges, really. But
I mean, Cam Johnson's a pretty solid.
Yeah,
defender.
He's a solid defender. I mean, and Chris Paul is always, he's older, and Devin Booker's not. They just have a lot of like, they're all right at defense.
And if they can figure it out and work as a team with a good coach,
their bench really doesn't have much defenders though either. That's I don't know.
Campaign. He's the monster.
Langston Galloway, Dario Saric.
Oh man, they really don't. Who's their backup center? Does Dario play the 5?
Dario does play the 5 for him sometimes, and they have Jalen Smith, their rookie.
Jalen Smith, yeah.
Oh, they have Frank Kaminsky. He plays a lot too. I knew there was.
But those are not good defenders.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 4 for me, Portland Trailblazers. I don't need to say anything more.
Number 4 is for me is Philly. Ben Simmons had his career high the other night, 40-some points, almost had a triple double. Still lost to the Utah Jazz.
Jazz.
We will talk about them in a sec.
I don't have much to say for Philly, in all honesty.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I don't really either. Top 3.
Number 3.
I assume we'll have the same top.
Clippers.
Clippers at 3. Clippers are
surprisingly
pretty good.
They've been talked about all year.
I know, and they need to stay that way because if they start to get talked about, then they'll get their egos back.
Yeah.
Maybe losing Montrezl Harrell was the key. Maybe he was the
and Lou Williams being bad.
And Lou Williams has been playing better, but
I think
they
still
might
helps
still
his
trade
ego.
him.
Number 2.
Yeah, they're top 5 in offense and defense. So and they've been the best 3-point shooting team in the NBA I think all year, and they still are shooting almost 43% from downtown as a team, which is very good.
That's what happens when you get Luke Kennard. He's a monster. Number 2, I got the LA Lakers.
Number 2, I got the LA Lakers.
Number 1, Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz, man, they've won 9 out of their last 10. I'm pretty sure 20 out of their last 21 now, which is just crazy. 8 in a row though. They're just balling.
They are like unbelievably good right now. And what I mean by that is they're not like killing everybody.
Yeah.
But for their
just winning
roster,
games, yeah.
How are they doing this?
Here's the legitimate question. Like, actually, is Donovan Mitchell like a legit MVP candidate or no?
No.
Because
I don't think they have
let's say that Utah like ends up being the number 1 seed in this West. Like, what's it, 72 games?
Yeah.
Let's say they go 59-13. Like, that would be pretty crazy. That would be a really good record. Let's say they go 57-15. Best record in the NBA by like a good amount of games. Donovan Mitchell, he's probably averaging like 24-5. Does he get MVP?
So,
I don't think so.
I'm going to flip the question back on yourself. Did the Atlanta Hawks
I know. I knew
have an MVP
I knew you were going to say that.
When they were the number 1
guess what?
team?
The Atlanta Hawks also had 4 All-Stars, and the Jazz are going to have 2 max.
Maybe
2.
Yeah. Rudy Gobert is a fringe.
They'll probably have 2, but like they're only getting put in there because of like Donovan Mitchell for sure deserves it, but like Gobert, he's only going to be an All-Star because the Jazz are good.
Yep. And so that to me, no.
Yeah,
Donovan
I know. I agree. I just want to see what you'd say. But yeah, the Jazz have been balling. Jordan Clarkson had 40 off the bench the other night. Absolutely went off. I don't know. I love the Jazz. They're really fun to watch because just guys, what we thought they were going to be last year, they're kind of doing it this year. Like this year, I underestimated them this year based off of what they did last year. But I remember going into last year,
you were high.
I had them like as the 3 seed because Mike Conley has really been playing well this year compared to last year. He has been hurt for a while, but
it just took an extra year.
Bogey has still been playing really well. Joe Ingles has been coming off the bench for them and doing really well, and they just shoot lights out.
I mean, Jordan Clarkson is 6th man of the year.
Exactly. Royce O'Neal has been pretty good for them. They just, like I said, they just shoot lights out. Yeah. So
that Jazz team, I don't see them doing much in the playoffs. So that's what I'm worried about.
What's this? Okay, right now, is this team Western Conference Finals or no?
I don't think so. Well, I guess are the Lakers and Clippers on the man because then you have the Nuggets.
Let's just like not looking
at
matchups. Just do you think this team can make the Western Conference Finals?
I think they can. Yeah, but
will they?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know either. Let's say right now
you have to answer it too.
All right. Let me just say like 7-game series right now. Let's say this is in the second round for something because I don't think it would be a first round matchup. Utah versus Phoenix. Who is winning that in a 7-game series? As of what we've seen so far this year, I mean, it's
the Jazz.
Yeah,
the Jazz won that series.
I don't know though. I don't know. Phoenix.
Paul.
Other than Chris Paul, though, that team has no playoff experience at all.
Right. Not a single player.
So, I would probably go with the Utah Jazz.
Mikal Bridges does have some playoff.
The Jazz really don't. Like they've played in the first round the last 2 years, but like.
But Mike Conley is also, and I mean, playing in the first round is a lot different than not playing.
I would go with the Jazz. Plus the Jazz too. I mean, I doubt there's going to be fans come playoff time, but when there is fans, the Jazz have some of the craziest home court advantage in the NBA.
Isn't there a nickname? Aren't they like?
No, but they get in trouble for talking shit to players a lot.
All the time.
Mainly Westbrook.
Yeah, that was bad. Though.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was horrible.
Okay, one more. Jazz Clippers. This is the
Clippers.
Western Conference semifinals.
Clippers.
to play the Lakers. Yeah, I'm going Clippers.
I'm going
too.
Clippers. I mean, Kawhi Leonard.
I might take Clippers over the Lakers right now,
Me
low
too.
key.
No, right now the Clippers are better than the Lakers.
And Paul George hasn't even been playing for the Clippers either. So
right now I'm taking Clippers.
Even
though we both have the Lakers above the Clippers in power rankings, which is kind of weird.
So we had a couple other topics, but I mean we're an hour 20 in, so we can save the NFL topics for this weekend. Quickly though, I do want to say Michigan first game back, huge win against Wisconsin. I mean that was awesome to see for them,
especially with how slow they started off, and then just started
in Wisconsin, and then to top it off, Michigan State does the exact opposite, has a very very big loss at Purdue, hasn't won at Purdue since 2014, which is really crazy. They're 4-9 in the Big Ten now.
Wasn't that the first time anybody swept Wisconsin?
Yeah, first time anyone has swept Wisconsin in 3 years,
which is just nuts.
Yeah, but yeah,
then we beat Rutgers.
Well, you got to play Rutgers still.
Oh, yeah, duh.
You got to play them tomorrow night.
Yeah, duh, tomorrow, and then Ohio State's this weekend.
Sunday, yeah. And then MSU, they got to take on, I forget who they play Saturday. They play somebody pretty decent, but I don't know. It's looking kind of, that game they needed to win. State needed to win that one bad, and they didn't. They're very bad on offense. I don't really want to talk about them. We don't need to talk about it.
We can end it.
Saturday, we will be back to have our first mock draft episode. We'll be talking a little bit about some just scenarios in the NFL, mainly Kenny Galladay, Carson Wentz. Those were kind of our topics we were going to do today, but we'll hold off till Saturday. So thank you for listening. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Peace.
Bye.